Welcome to the Pancake King Life and Marriage on the Spectrum, your source for learning about life and marriage on the autism spectrum. I'm your host, Forrest. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about sensory issues. When Kay and I first started dating, one of her autistic traits that stood out to me quickly was her sensitivity to certain sounds. One day, in the before times, while walking around her neighborhood, a car with a high-pitched engine passed by, causing Kay to reach for her ear in pain, even uttering a little ow when she did. For her, that sound was painful. Many on the spectrum experience similar discomfort with certain noises. Sensory issues for those on the autism spectrum often involve things we touch, taste, smell, and hear. I did some research on a little-known website called Reddit to find examples of textures that autistic people dislike, and the list was surprisingly extensive, including things like jelly donuts, yogurt with fruit, tight clothes, and mushrooms. Personally, I had my quirks growing up too. I always dreaded haircuts because I hated the sound of the razor and the feeling of hair falling around my head. If you're like me, just hearing me describe it is probably making you cringe into a black hole. So, dear Spectrumites, how do we manage these sensitivities? How do we get comfortable enough to stick our finger in that yogurt? Here's the short twist answer. There is no cure. We will likely always be sensitive to certain sensations, whether it's the touch of a strawberry or the feeling of shaved hair. We can't eliminate our sensitivity to these things, but we can take steps to lessen our exposure to them. First thing that we can do is identify and document sensory issues. Pay attention to the sensory issues you experience and write them down. If a turtleneck makes you want to rip it off, make a note of that. It might be time to modify your wardrobe. If the texture of strawberries makes you cringe, consider alternatives like cantaloupe, or if you still love the taste of strawberries, make a smoothie out of them.
Whoa!
Pay attention to potential sensory triggers so you can document them and figure out what needs to be replaced, changed, or toned down. If certain lights give you headaches, change the light bulbs. When Kay and I moved into our townhome, I swapped out the pale white lights for warm yellow ones, which improved my mood significantly. Next is to accept and adapt. Not everything can be changed or avoided. Cars will make their car noises, and loud music will play in public places. At church, for instance, you might not like how loud the worship music is, and asking the team to play quieter or not at all probably won't work. In the case of worship music, however, you can always get earplugs or something to put in your ear to lower the noise. While some things are beyond our control, we can still find ways to work around a lot of our sensory issues. It might not be perfect, but every little adjustment can make a difference. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit like if you're on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to my Substack at thepancakeking.substack.com to receive updates on new posts and podcast episodes every week. Kay and I also have another YouTube channel called Old But Gold with Forrest and KG, where we read Star Wars books to you. So if you're interested in that, look that up and subscribe to that channel as well. See you next week.